Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, November the 22nd. Hey, once again, we got our usual crowd here. We got Tom, Lee, Tracy, and Gentry going to kick some knowledge for us and help us put a few fish over the gunnel of our boat. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, we got Tracy Robinson with us, who is going to talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Tracy, let's start at Logan Martin. We always seem to do that. What's going on there?
Yeah, Logan Martin this week has turned back summertime patterns again. It seems like
No kidding.
some 80 degree days. Got that water temperature heading back the other direction again. So that's got these fish, really feeding good. They kind of moving up towards fall patterns, chasing a lot of bait fish. They're still with the bait fish, but these warmer temperatures and this warm surface temperatures really got them on top again. A lot of white bass and spots chasing shad, blowing up. You'll see a lot of that type of activity on the edges of the riverbanks right now on the main lake. Some in the creeks, but more out on the main lake is where I'm seeing the schooling action. The crankbaits, chatterbaits, stuff between the docks. That rock pattern still holds up pretty good too in the middle of the day if you want to get away from some of that top water action. But square bills bouncing off that chert rock and around the docks, between the docks. The crappie are still stacked up on that brush, 6 to 8 foot. You'll see it when you get around the dock. Some of the docks that have the brush on them, you'll see it in the crappie are in those brush piles pretty good. I'm seeing some guys out in the main creek out there, strolling around with the jigs and the long lining, but I'm seeing more of the crappie in the brush piles though. A couple of those guys, I've told them that what we're seeing, so I think that's your better option. At Lay Lake, a lot of the grass bites still going on. The top water, the buzz bait's really strong right now around some of those grass patches. Swim jig in the grass, punching around a little bit with some of your plastics. That mentioned, past few weeks, the timbers where the crappie are. That's still where you'll see the crappie at. Getting that standing timber, and they're moving up and down a little bit as far as depths, but about 10 to 12 foot. If you look at some of that standing timber, you'll be able to get right over them in that standing timber and drop a minnow or a jig down on them and catch some of those crappie.
Are the spotted bass out there with them around those trees and the striper? Is that what we're finding?
Well, Dan, I'm seeing more of the forward-facing sonar on that type of activity. There's a lot of big bait balls on that lower end of the lake, and it seems like the stripers and the spots and even the largemouth mixed in are chasing some of those bait balls down around that Paint Creek area.
Yeah, and that's the way that the minnows with the jig heads and those kinds of deals, and maybe even a jerk bait bite, correct?
That's right. Even an Alabama rig in there mixed in with it.
Huh. That's pretty good. Well, brother, we appreciate everything that you do, checking in with us, keeping us up to date. We look forward to talking to you again next week. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy's joined us here. We're going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and some Jordan Lake fishing opportunities. Gentry, you pick. Where you going?
Man, we'll start at Lake Martin. I know I watched some of that coverage of the Logan Parks thing they had down there on Martin. The amount of fish them guys caught was unbelievable. I think they totaled over 1,100 fish in 3 days. Now, they were counting every fish. I wish they'd have took them out. I think it would do Martin a lot of good, but
yeah,
it is what it is. But man, I watched that, dude, in the Alabama rigs and the forward-facing sonar, number-wise, was just unbelievable. I mean, them dudes were catching 30 and 40 fish an hour. I mean, it was impressive. But besides that, I talked to some guys at fished a tournament up there the weekend before that, and a lot of they were catching good numbers. The size wasn't there, but they were running crankbaits and stuff like that over shallow gravel bars, long tapered points, like digging it, like flat-sided crankbaits, digging it through the rocks. There was a 512 largemouth caught doing that, so, there's always that potential. But number-wise, man, they said they're catching, 40 fish doing that, but their best 5 would only weigh 10 pounds. So the numbers wise are there, mixing a couple of largemouth. You might find a deep sack doing something like that.
How about striper and crappie? Are you seeing anything coming around there?
Yeah, the crappie, man, I think they're still holding out on some of that little bit deeper brush because, like they were talking about before, man, the water temperature just it's moving in the opposite direction it was. Now, we got a cold front coming in I think another week or so.
Yeah.
That may change it up a little bit, but they're still hovering over that 10 foot and trash piles and stuff like that. And the spots and the largemouth are mixed in with them.
All right, let's go to Jordan. What's going on there?
Jordan, a lot. It's a little bit different. Of course, we always look for the current, but I talked to some guys up there that can throw the Alabama rigs in some of those tournaments, and there was some good spotted bass being caught doing that. The largemouth guys, man, it's still trash piles in front of the docks, chatterbait, stuff like that. Like I said, we were headed in the right direction, and that water just kind of, they quit doing what they were doing. We're still seeing some chasing. I think the top water bite may pick up as the warming trend continues. Sorry. But it's, I got a walking bait and a buzz bait. Just let the fish tell me. And I keep on this all day. But I think better fish are going to be your better spotted bass are going to be on Alabama rigs, and largemouth probably going to be on your trash piles.
Well, brother, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the time, and we'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we're checking in with our good friend Tom Mott, who's there. He's at work today, folks, but he's been spending some time keeping in touch with Guntersville. What's going on the big lake, Tom?
And I tell you, Dano, the lake it's just in that weird kind of transition zone. I really expected the fish to start getting more into a fall and winter pattern, and real similarly, the weather's been kind of nice, for the winter time, and it's just playing heck on trying to find those fish. I mean, they're in and out, and I will say this though, we put in a good 12-hour day last week, and at the end of the day, it was phenomenal. And it was warm all day. We had a good breeze, but it just seemed like that activity really got going late in the day, and that's where we really were able to put some fish in the boat. And I mean, you could have thrown a spoon tied to a end of a line, and they had a bid on it. It was just crazy. But again, it was just that warming trend late in the day. The bait got up there, the bass followed. There they were. We did have trouble trying to find some concentrations of fish during just during the daytime. I will say that a rig is probably the best bite going right now. It's more consistent than anything that I found. Unless you're a good scoper, and I am not, so I think the A rig's probably the best bet. But we were able to catch some numbers and catch some bigger fish, and I think that's what the bigger fish are coming on right now. We've seen some tournaments that are won with 23, 25 pounds. Um, you know, that's still pretty stout for this time of the year over on Guntersville. So, get out there, throw that A rig, really concentrate on those areas that are still transitioning. Just like you would in the spring, look for those same areas that you are in the fall. Those fish are still going to get up on those flats, are going to hit those shallower areas, and they're going to be just chasing bait right now. But we did see that top water activity. That's always fun. Do see a little bit of stripe activity out there as well. So, just anytime it's susceptible to just break loose on you. But, just a little bit tougher this past week. I will say that. And hopefully, if we could get some consistent cold weather, I think the crappie bite would really turn on. The bass bite obviously it would make it easier.
Yeah, well, anytime that you can get easier fishing, it's always a little bit more fun. But I like the challenge of trying to locate them all. Brother, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we got Lee Pitts, the crappie king of Weiss Lake, and the man on Neely Henry. What's going on around our parts of the world here, Lee?
Well, they were starting to kind of get it on both lakes, get into that winter pattern, and I think they've had to shift gears and back up a little bit. This warmer weather we've had is the water's kind of warmed up some more. On Weiss, the bass are back up in the shallow wood. The spinnerbait bite has been real good, and still when we've had our 3 foot drop, so the water's a little low right now, but the docks that do have 1.5 to 3 foot of water on them, you're still catching fish, flipping plastics, a little square bill, spinnerbait. Things are looking good. Finally, our crappie are starting to bite pretty good right now. Still a mixture of some things. You can get out there vertical with live bait and drop a minnow down on them, and that 10, 12, 14 foot of water, wherever you can find that brush. and also you can get up there shallow and shoot docks. So one thing that is the key to it, they really seem to be holding on the brush and the wood cover right now. Seeing a few fish bust out, schooling some, and getting in some of the deeper creeks, but everything seems to be more in your 12 to 14 foot range. Really, really tight on cover.
Okay, let's go to Neely Henry now when we're talking about that kind of stuff. I know Neely's a lot more current driven, but haven't seen a lot of rain. What are we doing to adjust to that?
We still got to move so much water a day. Unfortunately, some of that has been at night, so you're looking at some of your typical ambush spots, long tapered points, something with some rock and some hard bottoms in it. These fish are not going to go far this time of year. As long as you've got some bait around, they may have to be a little current to kind of stimulate them to feed, but they're getting in that the wood cover as well. Some of the on the main river, some of your laydowns, some of your little stumps and brush piles and things like that out there for the bass. And I've noticed too, even with my vertical drops right now, when I get pushed up wind wise or current wise and get up real shallow and trying to get my live bait even on a vertical approach, those spotted bass are really up on the high spots of the river channel. They're up on that tight stuff and on the harder bottom, so they're laying where they're supposed to be.
Um, well, Lee, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. We thank you for the time. And, dude, go catch them this weekend. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, November the 22nd. Hey, folks, we're going to be open next week, but certainly we're going to be taking a look at our Thanksgiving hours. We'll update you that later. So make sure you get on in here and look at the boats and the parts and the service. And then if you're looking for some of that tackle, come see us before Thanksgiving. Get a little Christmas shopping in while you're at it. Folks, thanks for the time that you spend with us. You are the best part of us, and we appreciate you.